Krishnan, Nature's Spokesman by Ramachandra Guha. Krishnan was a pioneering environmentalist and conservationist. He knew and practiced environmental education before the term had been coined. Consider his essay, Nature Study, printed in the Hindu on the 18th of May, 1947. The school approach to nature study, wrote this former school teacher, is fundamentally unsound. It is based on the theory that one must proceed from elementary, understandable things. There is simplification and selection, and logical, reasoned steps guide the approach. But the fact is that nature is not simple, logical and reasoned. Thank God that it is not. There is no need to fully understand anything in all its structure and complexity to be alive to its charm. What makes living things fascinating is their behavior, not their anatomy. Children in primary schools should get to know the common wild plants and birds of the locality. Birds because they are so easily watched. They should learn, a little later perhaps, the stories of the domestic animals. They should be taken out to see nature for themselves and be given pleasant books with gay, colorful illustrations. Children love them and will readily interest themselves in any text if it is free from morals and illustrated in color. Krishnan was India's best all-round naturalist. Salim Ali knew more, much more than him about Indian birds. Jim Corbett better understood the behavior of large mammals in the wild. Some botanists were more closely acquainted with Indian plants. Some herpetologists with Indian reptiles. But no one knew as much as Krishnan about so many different aspects of the natural world in India. Krishnan lived and died in Chennai, known in his time as Madras, but spent much of the year in the field, accompanied only by his camera, a notebook, a sketchpad, and a change of clothes. He was familiar with the snows of the Himalayas, the deserts of Rajasthan, the mangroves of the Sundarbans, and the grasslands of the Deccan. He wrote quite beautifully about these varied terrains and about the insects, plants, birds, and animals that inhabited them. The best introduction to Krishnan is through his writings. So let me now quote from some of the thousands of nature essays that he published in his long and very full life. I shall begin with an essay published in 1961, when the government of India was deciding upon the choice of the national bird. Here, Krishnan said the leading candidate was the peacock, for everyone knows it and has seen it. It is to be found all over India, and it is intimately and anciently associated with our religious and countryside legends and culture. Further, it is so distinctive in its arresting beauty that it lends itself to unmistakable formalized description. In fact, it has been so depicted in our folk and classical art. He went on to say, I shall be greatly surprised. Why, I shall be astonished if any other bird is ultimately preferred for the honor. Still, to make the debate more interesting, he decided to press the claims of the common myna. These were his reasons. Those sacred to no God, it is well known to our legends and folk songs, and is one of the most familiar birds in the country, being especially common in and around human settlements, both in the plains and the lower hills. And in spite of being so common, few birds have a richer plumage, as the naturalist Eha pointed out long ago. The contrast of the cadmium yellow of its legs and beak and facial patches with the Van Dyke brown of its plumage and the black of its head and the blaze of white on each wing that lends its flight such vividness are contrasts that could be most effectively formalized in an emblem. It has an additional claim. It is frequently caged and trained to talk, and in our folk songs it is often entrusted with the delivery of messages to loved ones far away, a kind of ambassadorial responsibility that is surely an asset in any national. This passage carried the hallmarks of Krishnan's writing, an attention to the everyday aspects of nature, not merely to its most spectacular forms or manifestations. An understanding of shape and size and color and form, natural in a trained artist, a knowledge of our folk and literary traditions, and a sense of